Hello everyone, I am Caitlin Smith-Kors. I am a Reiki Master and a Tarot Intuitive. And I wanted to make my weekly energy reading. And I know it's a little late in the week for me to do this. Normally I have it posted Sunday, Monday, Tuesday at the latest. But I wanted to make sure that I had it out there because tonight is the new moon in Libra. And I feel that a lot of us could really use that energy that can be at play here with the Libra side of it, especially since we have 5 or 6 planets retrograde at this time. So if you've noticed, a lot of miscommunications or communication issues, if you've had phone or technology issues lately, that could potentially be linked to it. If you've had a lot of delays with travel, those are all things that are associated specifically with Mercury retrograde, but we have, so many other planets that are retrograde at this time that we can kind of associate that energy with all of it. Now, some people get really thrown off when Mercury is retrograde. They just expect the worst. But I think that if we come at it from a place of this is a time for us to purposefully slow down. See, I am having a hard time. I'm stumbling over my words. So I should probably slow down when I'm speaking. If we are more purposeful with the words that we say, how we're communicating, if we take a little bit more time on our road ahead, on our travels, we plan for some extra time to go slower, then we have mentally prepared ourselves for that potential energy that's at play. So I think that this is really a call for us to slow down. So with this new moon in Libra, it could be a very romantic time for some people. In the Moonology deck, this is saying a new romantic cycle begins. So for some of you, this could be a romantic time. Now, since there are some of the planets retrograde, it could potentially bring up some past traumas, triggers, issues, arguments about things that you thought maybe you'd already hashed out, but they're coming up again. So if we're conscious of that, and we can kind of set a plan in place, and if I start feeling these things, what steps can I take to kind of gain back control of my emotions and not let my emotions control me and my actions, it could potentially be a time of strong healing if you've had a rough relationship, or if your romantic cycles have not always been the easiest, it could be triggering. But if we harness the Libra energy and the balancing energy, I feel like it could be a very romantic and healing time for a lot of people. The other cards that I pulled regarding the Libra new moon is stillness and trust. So some people associate the new moon for a time of manifestation and then starting to take, shortly after the new moon, starting to take actionable steps to attain their manifestations. But I feel that specifically with this new moon, some of you are going to really be called to do that stillness. Maybe through what you're trying to manifest, you need to have that period of rest and relaxation first. Be still. Figure out what do you want to manifest, how you think you can best manifest it. Maybe do some journaling, maybe doing some meditation. Maybe this is simply getting more sleep. But there is definitely a call for that stillness. And then trust. If you've been trying to manifest something specific and you haven't seen that yet, and you're thinking, okay, well, with this new moon, I'm going to start that manifestation process even more. It's going to be more in depth. If you're feeling called to take action, then definitely do it. But if you're not, if you're feeling called to be more still at this time, then having that trust that the universe is working working for you, that miracles can happen, that things are going on behind the scenes. Sometimes there are specific things that need to happen before you can get or you can attain what you're trying to manifest. You know, certain pieces of the puzzle have to fall into place first. So trusting that those pieces are falling into place and that your manifestations will come to fruition in divine timing. Sometimes we like to rush that. Sometimes we're not patient. But having that trust and that faith is important. Now, if you like to do journaling, I highly encourage you at this time to do some journaling during this new moon. And it is tonight, so tonight might be a good time for you to do journaling, whether it be before bed or if you have some spare time. Some of the questions that you might be interested in journaling about would be, where in my life am I called to have more balance? Or what area of my life needs more balance? You know, are you spending a lot of your time doing in a specific area of your life and kind of neglecting other areas? So thinking about that. Another question that you could journal about would be, am I a people pleaser? And if so, how can I set up boundaries and implement them with the people in my life? So those few questions I feel will be really important for some people to dive into. Diving into that energy could be very healing. So for the week ahead, I pulled some tarot cards last night, and you know, like I said earlier, this time could be about slowing down, you know, making sure that we take the time to be intentional. So I had pulled the cards last night. I had tried to make a video. My children were screaming in the background, playing, you know, having a ball, but that's all I could focus on when I replayed the video to make sure that it was acceptable for me to post. And of course it was not. So I'm like, I have to retake this whole thing. So I ended up re-recording it after my children went to bed, and I was just not happy with it. And so I think that one of the messages in this is to, number one, slow down. And number two, if something doesn't feel right, then honor that. You know, trust that intuition, honor that intuition. So I told myself that I would be in my office today. I would take this time to be in my, what I feel is my sacred space in a sense, and do my video here. And in my recording last night, I didn't talk anything about the new moon. And the new moon energy, I feel, is really important. So I'm glad that I decided to wait and refilm this. So I wanted to point that out, that might be something that you guys experience this week ahead too, is that inner knowing if something's not right and slowing down. So these cards that I pulled for the week ahead are a little bit intense. I used 2 different tarot decks, and in both of the decks, I pulled the Death card. Now, don't be afraid of this. If you're not familiar with tarot, don't be afraid of the Death card. I also like to call it the Rebirth card, or in this case, it's called the Release card. It's the number 13. So with this angel deck, it's called Release, and it's saying the end of a phase or situation, spiritual transformation, time to move on. So for some of you in this week ahead, you will be noticing a transformation in your life, maybe the end of a cycle. You'll start to see how one cycle is ending, and that you're starting to step into a new cycle. So for some of you, it might have felt a little bit stagnant, because we also have the Death card accompanied by the 8 of Air. And the 8 of Air can feel a little stuck, a little stagnant. It can be about being in a situation where you feel like you can't really get out of, that you don't have a choice. The bottom of this card says an illusion of being trapped. So maybe you're not physically trapped, but it just feels that way because of the emotions associated with it. A lack of self-confidence, afraid to take action. So maybe some of you have been afraid to move forward on something. You had that gut feeling that maybe it was time to end something specific in your life, maybe end a relationship, end a job, whatever that might be. But you haven't taken the steps to do it because you kind of felt stuck at that time. But we have this death card, this release card. So it's like freeing yourself from that. So some of you might start to feel that weight lifted. With the Rider-Waite deck, the death card is also followed by the Chariot. And that is forward movement, divinely guided forward movement. So, recognizing that gut instinct and saying, you know what, it's time to take that step forward. I am done holding myself back. And maybe this is associated with that new moon in Libra energy. Maybe there's some areas of our lives that we've been neglecting and we've been kind of honing in on a specific area because we feel like that's what we have to do. Maybe you felt like you had to spend a lot of time at work because you need to pay this bill, you need to make sure that the kids are taken care of, or whatever it might be that you've been neglecting self-care, or you've been neglecting spending time with friends or family. So maybe this is your sign that it's time to take that step forward here. I also pulled from both decks the Ace of Wands or the Ace of Fire. It's the same card. So I thought that was really cool. These were really strong messages, which is why I wanted to make sure that I re-recorded this for you guys, because these messages were coming through so strongly. So it is the Death card was showing up twice, and the Ace of Fire or Ace of Wands was showing up twice. And so what this is saying is an exciting new opportunity, career advancement, change your life now. So there definitely could be a change of career, an advancement in the career, could be some new opportunity coming in. We also, in this deck, have it followed by the Knight of Water. So there could be an opportunity coming into your life from a person that embodies the Knight of Water or Knight of Cups energy. They might be emotional, romantic, enthusiastic, or contemplative. The Knight of Water, I associate that energy with being very romantic, a romantic type of person, somebody that likes to woo somebody. So they could be quite the... what's that word? Chivalrous. I think that's the word I'm looking for. So the bottom of this card says falling in love or wedding proposals, the need to balance emotions, an invitation to a social event. So maybe through your social event, you are getting, that might be your opportunity for something to completely change in your life, because we have that death card, that rebirth card too. So it's like this exciting new opportunity for you might be presenting itself this week. And it might be involving somebody that kind of embodies that, I don't know if I want to call it an archetype, but something like that. And in the Rider-Waite deck, we have our Ace of Wands, and it's accompanied by the reversed Five of Wands. And this is saying to me that through the retrogrades, we might have been feeling a little bit combative or argumentative. We might have been triggered. We might have had some petty arguments or getting frustrated by things that normally wouldn't frustrate us. But it's like we are taking a hold of our emotions finally. We are recognizing that we can't let our emotions control our life. So that's what I'm seeing here, is this hand kind of grabbing one of those wands. That is us taking back control, and we are now recognizing how we're going to balance, how we're going to harness this energy and this fire that we might be feeling into something beautiful and creative in a sense. Some crystals for the week ahead, because I love my crystals. I'm feeling blue calcite might be needed. I feel like it might bring some of you some calming energy. And also citrine. I've been getting a lot of citrine vibes lately. So this could also help with the manifestation aspect if you're trying to manifest more money or more abundance. more self-worth, things like that. So thank you so much for joining me. Let me know how your week is going or what you might be doing for this new moon tonight. Thank you so much for joining me. Bye-bye.